Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome to another weekly edition of the Taking the Points betting show. I'm your host, as always, Graham Pushkar, joined by Jay Gruden. What's going on, Coach? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing real good. JJ, we made fun of you for the Buccaneers pick, but it hit. How are you feeling this week, man?
I feel great. I feel great. Just another day in paradise, man. That's just another winner under my belt. That's no big deal.
I heard you had, the stats show you had a pretty successful week one. You had to been feeling good, but I did see you had one of your worst college football days in history on Saturday. Is that right?
Everything I touched, it burned.
Oh, God.
I couldn't buy a pick. The two picks I hit, I was actually leaning on the other side, and I switched it last second. So technically, I probably went 0 for 20, but I really went 2 for 18.
Did you take Bama in that Bama Texas game?
I did.
Damn.
Loser.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
So forgive me for dropping the ball on the exact totals. Again, we have new graphics for you guys this week to go exact totals moving forward. But some Mickey Mouse horseshit bet awards. We'll give them out real quick. Again, blame Jay and I. Blame Jay and I for making JJ look really bad on that pick with the Buccaneers Vikings game. Give myself and JJ the Mickey Mouse horseshit bet award for thinking the Giants had any chance in hell of beating the Cowboys Sunday night. Props to Coach Jay on that one. He said that there was actually, quote, no way in hell that they were going to win. And sure enough, it was 40-0. Were you watching that game, Jay?
Yeah, I did watch that game for the first half, and I fell asleep.
Everything went wrong for the Giants. Everything.
Yeah, that's one team you don't want to get down against is the Cowboys. They can rush it. They can rush the passer now.
100%. And we do have to give one Mickey Mouse horseshit bet award to yourself, Coach, for saying that the Steelers were going to beat the shit out of the 49ers. Kenny Pickett looked terrible.
I gave into the hype, man, the preseason hype of Kenny Pickett. That's a bad mistake.
It was a nightmare game. I mean, Brock Purdy looked good. It's going to be interesting. Are you completely out on the Steelers, or do you think that they can still turn it around?
I'm out right now. They lost a key piece to their defense. Their defense is what's got to carry them, and Hayward is a huge piece of that puzzle. So I'm out right now.
What do you think about Jordan Love? I wanted to ask you again. I'm going through some headlines every week. We're going to do a quick recap. Jay, what do you think about Jordan Love? 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. Looked pretty good on the road in week 1 against Chicago.
Yeah, I was impressed with him. Man, he had command of the offense. He threw on time accurately, stepped into some pressure. But for his first start in a pressure situation at Chicago, I thought he looked excellent.
And one more headline question for you, Coach. Are the Dolphins legit? I know it was week 1. Tua threw for 466 yards, 3 touchdowns. Are the Dolphins going to be legit this year?
They were legit last year, and Tua got hurt. With Tua, they're obviously legit. I mean, they are fast. They play fast. They go no huddle. They got players across the board. Defensively, they got to shore up their run game defense a little bit. But offensively, I don't know how you stop these guys.
They're electric. They got speed all across the board. And the last question I have, I'm going to JJ here. What do the Jets do at quarterback? I mean, devastating injury. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Do they call up your boy Mike White that you seem to be in a romantic relationship with? Or what do they do?
No,
Where do they go?
they wait. They're gonna wait. This is what I'm thinking. Okay, this is just a total shot in the dark here, but I think they're gonna wait a couple games. They're gonna wait until New Orleans gets their backup, who's suspended from Fresno State, that rookie. And as soon as he comes back, they're gonna make a call down to New Orleans, and they're gonna pick up Jameis Winston.
Wow, interesting.
Watch it.
How do you feel with Zach Wilson? Do you think they're just completely in trouble with Zach Wilson, or do you think that he can take the small amount of time and the stuff he's learned from Aaron Rodgers and contribute? I mean, he got to win, but what do you think?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still going to be in the locker room. He's going to help Zach Wilson out. You saw it on Hard Knocks, how he called the play down on the sideline. He had a dart down the sideline too. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. We'll just have to wait and see. Who knows? He could be okay, but that offensive line is just so bad. I mean, if you watch the first 3 snaps of Aaron Rodgers, he was pressured every single time within 2 seconds. He couldn't get away with the ball or get rid of the ball quick enough. So, I mean, the offensive line is just struggling right now.
Is it worth picking up the phone and giving TB12 Tom Brady a call, or do you think that ship has sailed?
Dude,
I've seen it.
I can't see him in a Jets jersey. Can you, Pop?
No.
You think the ship sailed, Coach? You think it's done?
I think it's sailed. I think his career has been just fine, and I think he's good playing golf and doing commentating.
Sounds good to me. Again, it's been funny. I saw funny tweets imagining if Tom Brady came back, won him a ring, and you saw freaking Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers getting a trophy and a ring next to each other in the same uniform. It would be something. But again, I'm with you. Ship's probably sailed. But let's get into NFL Week 2. It's kicking off tomorrow night. Again, guys, something new. We have graphics right now for every single pick. We'll go ahead and show the first one, Thursday Night Football, Vikings, Eagles. As you can see, Coach Jay and I are both on the same page all across the board. And then we've got JJ, who's taking the Vikings +6, and he's taking the over. So I'm going to go to you first, JJ. Why are you going Vikings +6 after a miserable game against the Buccaneers?
I think it's a little bit of a trap game. I mean, we saw the Eagles last weekend too. They didn't play too good either. They started out a little hot, but then they kind of came out flat in the second half. They couldn't score again once the second half came around. The Vikings, though, on the other hand, I mean, say what you want about that offense. I mean, Kirk Cousins turned the ball over twice in their in Tampa Bay's territory. They also had a fourth out. They went on a fourth down and didn't get it. I mean, he had almost 300 yards in the first half, passing the ball. They looked okay offensively. They just couldn't find a way to punch the ball in the end zone. I think they learned from it. And I just feel like a lot of people are going to doubt them. They're going to see that game. They lose to Tampa Bay, and they think that Eagles will be a shoo-in at home, especially last year, same week. Eagles just destroyed them. Primetime Kirk, too. But I think that the Vikings are going to figure a way to keep it close with the Eagles. I like the over too. I just think the Eagles are going to win this game. But the defense for the Vikings are the ones that lose it, not Kirk Cousins this week.
Yeah, Coach Jay, I mean, what happened with the Eagles-Patriots game? I mean, it was closer, I think, than a lot of people thought. And watching that game, it went all the way down to the wire. Mac Jones had a nice throw. I forget to which receiver. He just had 1 foot in bounds. Oh, were you surprised that Eagles-Patriots game was as close as it was last week?
Not really. New England's a tough place to play, and their defense is always well coached by Coach Belichick. I mean, anytime you can go to New England and get a win, that's a heck of a day. That's a heck of a feat. But my fear for this game coming up is I just think Philadelphia is too big on the interior for Minnesota's offensive line. Minnesota's offensive line is not very good, and you're going against a Philadelphia team who is deeper than deep on the defensive front. So running the football on first down is going to be very difficult. So they're going to be stuck in a lot of second long, third and long, which is not what you want to do against Philadelphia. So that's why I took Philadelphia. I think they play better on offense this week. They'll get A.J. Brown more involved. And I don't think Minnesota's defense is quite like New England's.
I tell you what, JJ, you took the Vikings did you take them to miss the playoffs or no?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, if they start
to finish last in the division too.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was a bet that it was. Yeah, I mean, if they start 0-2, I'm not saying they're going to be pressing any panic buttons, but, pulling up the schedule here, week 3, they've got the Chargers, so that's another tough game. So you're right. I mean, with the way that losing that game was big for them. I mean, again, I think everybody in the world, for the most part, besides JJ, thought that the Vikings were going to get it done. So it's going to be interesting. A great Thursday night game. Everybody's going to be happy. Football is back. Let's go to the Sunday slate. Picks number 2 on the board here. Bills, Raiders. I tell you what, I am not 100%, but I am Josh Allen. Coach Day, what was he doing in that Monday night game? I mean, 3 interceptions. What on earth was going on for Josh Allen in that Monday night game? Is the league starting to figure him out? He has the most turnovers in the NFL, I believe, since 2018. He did not look good. What is going on with Josh Allen?
They split against the Jets last year, and he had a similar type game against them last year as well. He turned the ball over 4 or 5 times. He got sacked many times on first down, which happened again. He just forced the issue a little bit. I think he was a little frustrated, tried a couple of deep balls that he should not have attempted. He fumbled once. That can happen. The other interception by Whitehead on the sideline, that was just sweet play by Whitehead. But you're going to have to deal with some of these ups and downs with Josh Allen. You're just hoping as a coach that throughout a course of 17 games that he's going to have way more ups than he does downs. And I think he's going to be fine.
100%. Peter, our producer, if you want to throw those picks back up one more time for that Raiders-Bills game. I'm going +9. I'm the only one. But again, Josh Allen left a bad taste in my mouth after that freaking Monday night game. As I told you guys last week, I think 9 points is a lot in any game. He is going to be hungry to absolutely destroy somebody. But again, I like what the Raiders did. I know it was Denver in their week 1 game, snuck away with a win. I also see the under here. I think the Raiders, again, I think it's a low-scoring game. If Josh Allen struggles again, the Raiders have a couple pieces on defense. They got Mad Max Crosby. But again, as you can see, guys, again, picks every single play now for every week. Coach Jay and JJ are in the same boat. Bills -9 and over. JJ, are you a believer that it's just going to be, Josh Allen being hungry this game, or what leads you to believe they cover and also the overs?
I think they destroy the Raiders this week, and just because Oakland or Las Vegas, they flew to Denver this past weekend. Don't forget, they're gonna go, now they fly back home. They're gonna have to fly again cross country, literally on the opposite side of the country, to play this ball game. And a hungry Josh Allen team where they got to win this ball game because they don't want to fall too far behind of the Dolphins, because the Dolphins look scary. I took the Dolphins to win the division, and you got to compete with them. They got to win this game. This is a game that they have to win at home, and I think they get the job done. I think this is an easy spot. I think they're going to win. I think you could even take it up a little notch and take it -16.5, -17.
Is Vegas to Denver a long flight?
That's not that far, but it's still a road trip. It's still a road trip. It still sucks. You got to go outside your country, and then you got to fly all the way opposite side of the country. That's a long trip. That's a long trip. You're playing at 10 a.m.
I tell you, how are you feeling? You had Bills to miss the playoffs, right? And now with Aaron Rodgers going down, that bet, you can assume that bet is probably chalk now, right? It's probably cake.
No, I don't think it is. I think there's other teams in the AFC that are going to be very good that could take that spot. Who knows what happens? If Miami can just run away with it, Bills lose some games too. There's some other teams like in the AFC East, AFC West. The lower divisions that we think that aren't going to be very good, but they're going to pile up some wins too that are going to knock out some of these teams in the AFC East. So I like my chances there.
What about you, Jay? Do you still think that do you think the Bills miss the playoffs? I don't think they do now with the Jets going out.
Yeah, I don't think so. Who knows? But I think the Bills have a good enough team to make the playoffs, still get the 10 or 11 wins.
Yeah, they have a good squad, right? It's going to depend on Josh Allen. Who knows, right? What if the league is starting to figure him out a little bit, and what if he is I think about it. Right, what if the Bills window closed? They had their shot, they got close. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. Again, Josh Allen, I doubt he fell off the face of the earth, but it's going to be close, and we'll see. Let's move on to Bears Bucks if we want to get those picks up here. Bears Buccaneers. I'm going Bears +2.5. So is JJ. As you can see, Coach is going Bucks -2.5. He's taken the Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers Kool-Aid. Everybody is on the under. Clean slate on the under in this game. I didn't love what Justin Fields did last week in the Bears, obviously at home, but I think they're not going to be as bad as that game, and I think against the Buccaneers, they're going to figure it out. I was texting JJ. He was hype about his Buccaneers pick again, but then he said off air that he doesn't think the Bucs win a game again this year. He thinks he's going to be miserable. But, Coach, I'm going to come to you here on this one. What is your rationale here going Buccaneers at home -2.5?
I don't think the Bears can score. I don't think Justin Fields has turned a corner. I don't think they trust him good enough yet. They're going to have to take the diapers off of this guy and let him play. I don't think his weapons are as good as people think. Chase Claypool is,
terrible.
Yeah. And then DJ Moore, I think, is a little bit overhyped, and the Bucs can handle a receiver. And the Bucs have a good blitz package, and they got fast linebackers that can run with just maybe not catch them all the time, but they can run them down from time to time. So that's why I took the Bucs. And I think Baker Mayfield will do just enough to win, maybe 17-13 or 17-3 or whatever.
JJ, you're on my side. You're on Bears to cover. What are your thoughts here? Where are you feeling on Baker and Justin Fields as well? Because he's a big talking point right now.
Again, when I'm talking about handicapping and looking at the spreads, right? And we're thinking preseason, and we're seeing the Buccaneers. We were all in the Buccaneers to have that win total, and we were taking it under 3.5, 4.5. We thought they had no chance of winning more than 5 games this season. All of us said it. Even guests that we had on the show said that they couldn't do that. This is a game where they stubbed their toe. They did a great job winning against the Vikings. I'm sure they're going to get a couple more wins in their division. This is a good spot for the Bears to come back and play hard. And that spread's a little short. We saw them just get destroyed by Green Bay. And I just have a feeling that the Bears, this is actually my favorite dog play of the week. And I think they win this game outright.
Yeah, it's do or die for Justin Fields. We can talk about him all we want, but if he doesn't put up this year and put up some points and produce, then they might look to move on from, next season. So they got to figure it out. I'm with you. I think they cover, and I also think they win outright. JJ, I'm right there with you. Ravens at Bengals. This is a huge game. I'm on the Ravens +3.5. I did not like what I saw from Cincinnati. Again, I know the weather was terrible. Joey B is probably still not 100% healthy. You guys are both on the Bengals in this game, as you can see, to cover -3.5. I think there's going to be points scored across the board no matter what. We don't know if Mark Andrews is going to be back in this game. I love what I saw at Zay Flowers in their first game in Baltimore, but I will say they didn't beat the Texans convincingly by any means. I mean, 25-9. Lamar, I believe, had 2 turnovers, threw a pick, and coughed it up once. But I know Lamar loves playing the Bengals. I know it's in Cincy. I'm taking them to cover. There's going to be points all across the board. Jay, what are your key factors in this game, and how are you feeling about this Ravens-Bengals game?
I took the Bengals because of the injury report for the Ravens. I don't know. There's a lot of linemen that are banged up. They lost J.K. Dobbins. Andrews is a question mark. I just think the Bengals pass rush will be too much for them to handle in the passing game. And losing a key rusher like J.K. Dobbins is going to be a huge detriment for Baltimore. So I think Joe Burrow bounced back. They'll get the ball to T. Higgins hopefully once or twice this week at least. Jesus. And then, and Jamar will have a nice game too. So anytime you put up a goose egg like they did against Cleveland where you only throw for 80 yards, those guys will be chomping at the bit on Tuesday to get back to work and get back to practice and show up on their first home game.
So another big injury for J.K. Dobbins. You mentioned the Achilles injury. I've seen people across Twitter and across, actually credible and reliable sources say he might consider hanging him up. As a former coach, Jay, what are your thoughts on that? Because Achilles are tough. I mean, you know it. Everybody knows it. And do you think it's something he's going to bounce back from, or you think he's actually going to consider hanging it up?
It's hard for backs. Cam Akers did it, but, backs, the way they plant and cut and have to run, speed, start and stop, it's very difficult for them to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised. Quarterbacks can get away with that. Aaron Rodgers could probably come back and play if he wanted to, but running backs, defensive ends, where we have to use that push and that get off, it's difficult, but it's not impossible.
That's another question is, what is all the nonsense of back and forth about the artificial turf? Are you a believer in one versus the other is better? I know the NFLPA is now calling for turf to be out of every single stadium across the NFL. Do you think there's a big difference there?
I think there's a huge difference. Yeah, I limp right now because I played on turf for a long time. I have arthritic knees and messed up shoulders. That turf is terrible. Grabs your shoes and you can't recover from when it grabs you. You're at the mercy of which way your leg's going to bend when the guy lands on you. So yeah. I'm totally against turf.
Yeah, it sucks seeing injuries, especially in a rush. I mean, it's just devastating. JJ, you're on Bengals -3.5. How are you feeling about this one, and what are your thoughts behind that one?
I feel pretty good. And before I get my pick, you are a very biased Browns fan too, because I saw all the tweets about Joe Burrow from you this past weekend, shitting on him. So,
dude, I had to pull the receipts, man. I was getting talked up a storm saying that the Browns had no shot in that game, man. It was just pulling receipts left and right. I had to.
I got you. No, but I like the Bengals here. I think they bounced back in a big way. The Ravens actually looked really slow against the Texans too overall. They didn't really kind of get going until the second half, and they kind of ran away with it towards the end. But the Bengals are in a dire need to kind of bounce back here, and I think it's a good bounce back spot at home, divisional game. I think they get this one, especially after losing against the Browns. They know they need it really bad. So I like the points here, and I'll eat them.
I know a lot of people that have T. Higgins in their fantasy lineup, and as Jay mentioned, 8 targets, no catches last week. Was absolutely brutal. I played Joe Burrow in fantasy, and I still lost, so I don't know how that happened, but it was miserable. How did you guys do fantasy week 1? You play fantasy, right, Coach JJ?
Yeah, I do fantasy. Yes, I actually have too many. I have 4 teams, but I went 2-2, so I did okay. I had Tyreek Hill in both of my leagues, and then the teams I lost, I was going against him. So go figure.
What about you, Coach?
I had one league and I lost. I was up by 27 going into Monday night game, and the guy had Stephon Diggs and he got 28. Jeez, lost by a point.
Damn, that sucks. Yeah, I lost because that Giants-Cowboys game was a blowout, and CeeDee Lamb didn't need to do anything, and Saquon really didn't get any production because they were getting killed. So
I had the Cowboy defense.
Yeah, they had a ton of points. God, Jesus, man. That's probably why you were all over the Cowboys. Let's move to Chargers-Titans. The Chargers, as we know, lost to the Dolphins at home. Coach, I'm interested to wonder and to get your opinion on why you're on the Titans to win this game. I didn't like what I saw out of Ryan Tannehill, low scoring, couple interceptions. What makes you believe DeAndre Hopkins just didn't practice today with an injury? What makes you think with Mike Vrabel and company, the Titans are going to get it done?
I just think the way the Chargers played defense last week was scary. And Tannehill had 3 picks. He'll clean that up, and we'll give a large dose of Derrick Henry this week. And I just think that at home, the Chargers will play not as well, traveling all the way across the country, right, JJ?
Yeah, right.
And I just think Mike Grable will get these guys going. Hopefully, hot plays. Burks will get some more catches, but I think it'll be all about Derrick Henry and some of the play passes.
Definitely, yeah. If you can slow the Chargers down with Derrick Henry, keep Herbert and company off the field, it's a great recipe. Austin Eckler is hurt. Who knows if he's going to play? But JJ, you're with me. You're taking the Chargers to cover. I think, honest to God, I think they could cover a -6 and win by a touchdown or more. But how confident are you in the Chargers this weekend?
I just don't think that the Titans can put up as many points as the Dolphins can, and I think the Chargers are more than capable of putting up a lot of points against the Titans defense. So with that being said, I just think they run away with it. I think they could still win by 10+ points too. I'm not really a big believer in the Titans this year. I don't think any of us really were, especially being on the Jags. But I thought the Titans were going to be the team that kind of came in second. But this is a spot for the Chargers to bounce back and be competitive in the AFC West.
Yeah, 3 interceptions for Tannehill. I mean, I know he's nothing crazy, but it was extremely underwhelming in that game against New Orleans. And New Orleans wasn't great either, and we'll get to them here in a second. But let's move to Seahawks Lions because as we talk and we had the preview shows, the Seahawks went out and laid an egg at home against the Rams. I didn't see it coming. Jay, did you see that one coming last week with the Seahawks against the Rams?
I did not. I think the Rams play a lot better defense, and Stafford had a great game. Geno, not so much. I just think they'll bounce back. I think 5.5 points. I still think the Lions will probably win, maybe, but I think it'll be a really close game, down to a field goal.
Peter, throw those picks up one more time here for us for this Lions Seahawks game. I'm on the Lions to win. I'm not confident enough to take them covering 5.5. JJ, you are, however, you're confident enough to take them covering 5.5. You're also on the over, so walk us through the thought process there. In 5.5, again, it does seem kind of bold, but I think the Lions are a damn good football team.
No, I mean, I know the Seahawks offensive line that's banged up as well. I think Aiden Hutchinson's going to eat this week. I really like his player props to record multiple sacks. I think he has a really good game. Defensively at the line, they're really good. I mean, they're coming off a huge win against Kansas City. They're going to carry that momentum home, play the Seahawks, who struggled against the Rams, really showed nothing offensively. And I think that the defense for Seattle isn't that great either. And you have the Detroit Lions offense playing really well. And I just see them kind of running away with this ball game as well at home.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think of the JJ? I know again you're on Lions, you're on them to cover. What did you think of the Thursday night game? Did you think that they won that game solely because Kelsey and Chris Jones were out, or did you think that they're just a better team?
Better team. I think if you play them in the playoffs, Kansas City wins that game 9 times out of 10.
Huge contract for Chris Jones coming in. I think it was 1 year, 24-25 million. It was absolutely insane that he was sitting in a booth at that game watching his team play. I mean,
that was probably the worst contract too. Like, he sat out to get a worse contract than what he was expected to make. It's bizarre.
Jay, as a coach, how would you feel coaching up a game, seeing one of your star players in a loge up above you watching it? Like, how would you feel as a coach? It was absolutely bizarre.
I did it all the time. Guys were hurt every game, and they're up there in the press box eating popcorn. The worst was Trent Williams when he decided not to report. He never came to the game though, up in the press box. But you got to have your best players play. I know Andy Reid knows that. You have a very select few of the top-notch players. They have to play, and the ones that play the most throughout the season are the ones that go to the playoffs and win Super Bowls.
And let's keep on the charge, or the Chiefs are the pick up next, so we'll continue on the topic here. How shitty, I'm sorry, but how shitty are their receivers? I mean, Kadarius Toney had 5 targets, dropped everyone. Marquez Valdes-Scantling didn't do much. What is going on? How bad are their receivers truly? And why do you think in KC that they are okay with trotting those guys out? Because they have not a single average receiver on their roster.
I mean, look around the league now. There's a couple teams that are like that. I mean, I'm very disappointed.
That bad?
Some of these receiving cores are rough. Do you see the Giant game?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay. There's some receivers and Steelers. They're going to throw out some guys out there this week that aren't very good either. So, when you have a guy like Travis Kelce back, though, who needs him? Just clear out, let Travis Kelce work the middle of the field. But those guys will bounce back. Scanlon's not bad. Tony will make some plays. He'll catch the ball. They got to get his confidence back. Once he makes a few plays, he'll be okay.
Sky Moore out there wearing number 24. I didn't think he was going to do good from the jump when I saw him wearing fucking number 24. I thought it was bizarre. I don't. I
Who's on
think
my
with any,
fantasy team? You got me 0.4 points. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
yeah, my dad texted me too. He put him in the lineup as soon as they ruled Kelsey out, and same thing. He didn't do anything. Chiefs at Jags this week. I'm taking the Jags to cover. You guys are both on the Chiefs. Who knows? We don't even know if we're going to get Kelsey back this week. And in Jacksonville, the Jaguars are a damn good football team. They've got receivers. They've got pieces on defense. They've got Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jaguars, I'm taking them to cover. I think they win outright, and I think they win by a touchdown. I'm taking the Jags. I think there's points scored all over the board in this game. But Jay, I'm going to go to you first. I know you're on the Chiefs, but under 51 seems like an interesting pick here with two pretty decent offenses. So what are your thoughts on the under in this game in Jacksonville?
I don't like either one of those picks now I look at it. Can I switch?
Go for it.
I'm switching to the Jags. It's
There we
gonna be an incredible environment down there. The city down there, I live down there, is so excited for the season to start. The way the season ended last year, going to the playoffs, it is going to be a packed house. It's going to be loud, and it'll take a little while for these Kelsey to get back. Over under, I can still stick with the under. I still think that there's going to be a lot of ball control. But I like the way the Jaguars are playing. They didn't play great against Indy last week, but Calvin Ridley's the truth, and that throw him in the mix on the Jaguar offense is really a big bonus.
Yeah, I mean, if the Chiefs lose, right, they start 0-2, which is definitely going to be unfamiliar territory for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and company. JJ, are you 100% sold that the Jags or the Chiefs cover that game, or what are your thoughts there?
I'm not 100%, but I'm just not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'll never bet against Patrick Mahomes, and it's a game that honestly I would probably end up staying away. But if I'm choosing a side, I'll go Kansas City here. They got to bounce back, and I think they do so. But again, that offense is scary. Calvin Ridley looked damn good. Dang, like I mean, he didn't miss a beat. You know, the hype from training camp was real. But I'm just hoping, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be an over type of game, though. I don't think there's going to be ball control. I think it's going to be a fireworks show, and I like the over.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be high scoring in my opinion. Again, I know Jay, you're sitting there on the under, but I think there's fireworks and high scoring game there too. The next game on the slate is probably one of the ugliest games this week upcoming. Colts at Texans. I'm taking the Colts. I thought Anthony Richardson impressed in his debut. I know they didn't win, but I thought he looked better than a lot of people, including myself, thought he was going to look in week one. I'm on the over. Coach is on the under. JJ, you're on the over here as well. CJ Stroud, again, the Texans didn't get blown out as bad as I thought they would. I already mentioned that in their week one game at Baltimore. But JJ, why do you think the Texans cover in this game in +1? I mean, +1 is essentially a pick 'em, right? So you probably think they can win that game outright.
I think defensively they're going to be good, and I think they're going to hold Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson's going to get a lot of hype, and the Colts are going to get a lot of hype with how well he played. But putting teams matching up on paper, they're basically the same team, and I'm going with the home team here, and I think the Texans find a way to win at home. And I think CJ Stroud's going to get his first win under his belt. I just like the Texans here.
Coach, you're on the Colts like me. How impressed were you with Anthony Richardson in his week one debut?
They played good against the pretty good team against the Jaguars. So you say the Texans played okay. They lost by 25-9, didn't they? It wasn't that
yeah,
close.
but that's
it's Baltimore on the road.
Does it lie? I don't know. It says 1-0 Baltimore, 0-1 Houston. Anyway, I just think Houston or Indianapolis has a better defense. Houston played pretty good defense against Lamar, but I still think overall Indianapolis is a better team, and it's going to be a low-scoring game, like 20-17 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I think it was JJ, right? You kind of shit on me a couple weeks ago for talking about Michael Pittman. He had a nice play in that week one game. He came out a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I like the Colts. Randy Richardson could keep improving. I definitely think they win that game, but if he can keep improving, it's going to, again, like Jay mentioned, right? They played in week one. A good Jacksonville Jaguars team, pretty tough. So they're going to be fun to keep eyes on as the season progresses. Packers at Falcons. Interesting, ugly game here. Jay and I are on the Packers. Seems like it's funny. Every trend so far this week, if Jay and I are together, Jay takes on the opposite end. And if I'm on my own island, then you guys are together. So kind of a package deal going here this week. But JJ, why are you on the Falcons to cover? I mean, I think Desmond Ridder threw the ball, 15 times in that game? It was ugly. I have Kyle Pitts on my fantasy team, and everybody's telling me I should trade him as soon as I can. What leads you to believe the Falcons are going to cover against a Packers team where Jordan Love looked damn good?
Well, the Falcons didn't need to pass the ball because they were running the ball so successfully. I mean, they had really no issue of needing to switch it to the passing game because they're just running the ball so efficiently. So I think the Packers are a little overrated here in this spot just because how badly they beat the Bears. But being at home, playing in Atlanta, again, I think it's going to be tough for the Packers to win on the road here. Jordan Love did great last week, but I think this is going to be a harder test for them. They're more talented defensively. Jesse Bates played awesome, and I have a really strong feeling that that Atlanta's going to get this win.
Jay, I'm all over the Packers Kool-Aid right now. I think Jordan Love is much better than a lot of people think already. I think they're going to continue to prove that. I think they get to 2-0. You do too. But how confident are you in the Packers this week? I think they win by a touchdown.
I agree. I think their defense is good enough to slow down that running game. They have some big guys up front, and if they force Ritter to throw, that's going to be an issue for Atlanta. Obviously, if Atlanta can run the ball and continue to do what they did with the backs that they have, it'll be a tough one for Green Bay. But I'm counting on them to stop the run and make Ritter throw the ball eventually, and let the Packers rush get there. And you're right, Jordan Love played exceptionally well, a lot better than I would have anticipated for his first game, real game plan. And he's going to get better and better. And Ritter just doesn't show progress right now. He's got a long way to go. He's only played a few games as well. But I just think right now where the quarterbacks are at, I'd rather have Love and I'd rather have the Packer defense. That's why I went with I went.
Right there with you, man. Drake London didn't really catch a pass. I think he might have had 1 or 2 catches in that first game. So if they make Desmond Ritter throw, I think you're right on. I think they're in trouble. Niners at Rams, 4:00 slate now. A spread that tells you it's going to be one-sided, but I don't know. With the way the Rams shocked the world against that week 1 game, in Seattle, I'm taking the 49ers to cover -8. But then again, it's going to be interesting. I see both of you guys are on the Rams to cover this game. Jay, why are you on the Rams to cover +8? Was it the week 1 performance? Do you think that the Steelers are just that bad and it was an outlier for the 49ers in week 1? What makes you believe that the Rams are going to cover at home?
It's a rivalry game. Sean and Kyle know each other quite well, and these games are usually typically pretty close. I was really tinkering on the 49ers as well. I just think it's going to be a close game. I think the Niners are a better team and going to win the game, but 8 points in the division rivalry game I just thought was too much.
Yeah, JJ, you're on the Rams to cover as well.
Yeah, I mean they just played at Pittsburgh. They got to go to LA. I know it's not a big crazy plane trip over there, but again, it's hard playing back-to-back road games. You're going against a divisional opponent. I think 8 points is a lot of points. I think the Rams do lose, but they're going to keep it close, and it's going to be a very good game.
Either one of you, I'll pose this question to either one of you. Do we think that Brock Purdy, looked great in week 1. Is he going to have another great year? And Brandon Ayuk had a scary and a very productive week 1 day. Is there a shot that Brandon Ayuk outperforms Deebo Samuel this year? Any one of you, floor is yours.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's really progressed a lot for a young receiver from where he started his career to where he is now. His confidence is off the charts. He's playing extremely well. So yeah, I think there's a possibility that can happen. If you're going to, unless they start giving Ayuk more attention than Deebo, and then Deebo will outproduce him. But right now, a lot of attention's always been on Deebo. He might draw the best corner. That might change moving forward.
Well, they could just do so much, right? I mean, they got Deebo, they got Brandon Ayuk, they got George Kittle, they got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I feel like they could do whatever they want, and they could just signal out the guy who they want to throw to and who they want to revolve the game plan around at the end of the day, right? I mean, they just have so many different weapons that you could choose from, and it's just going to be one of those guys week in and week out who's going to be getting the majority of the ball.
Yeah, and I don't want to knock Brock Purdy because so far he's proven he's a winner and he wins ball games, but it's hard to not think about how scary good they will be if they didn't have a Brock Purdy, if they had one of the bigger dominant quarterback names in the NFL. I mean, again,
maybe can't have superstars at every position now. I mean, come on. You got to give a little. I mean, your salary cap will run out. You can't have a $50 million a year quarterback, Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo. And yeah, that's a little tough to do. And the defensive players they have, Bosa, I mean, crazy. And the linebacker, Warner, I mean.
Yeah, they're stacked, and I hear you. It's hard to not think about, like, what if they went after a Kyler Murray? I know he just got paid, so probably is going to make it hard. But again, if they
Well,
can
they're going
play
to
a
be
little.
losing a lot of pieces this year. They're going to be because a lot of these guys are going to be free agents next season, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to want to do. Because I know George Kittle, he's going to be a free agent. I know that Debo's going to be a free agent. I know a lot of these guys on defense are going to be free agents too. So I mean, you got to figure out what you're going to do there. I mean, I don't think Kyler Murray's really answered. Brock Purdy's doing great. Why worry about Kyler Murray? He's doing
Yeah,
great.
no, he is doing great. I personally find it hard to believe that he's going to have as much success as he had week 1 all year. I think at some point, I mean, there's a reason he
How do
was.
you not think that when you saw last season what he did? He threw 2 touchdowns every damn game. He was a winning quarterback. He didn't lose a game.
He's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason, right? Like
No.
they've got to figure him out at some point. They have to. They have to.
He's like 9-0 as a starter.
They're going to figure him out at some point.
He lost in the playoffs when he got hurt.
So if say they have another great, crazy good year, right? And if they drop pieces off, and do you think Brock Purdy's just going to magically be good if they lose a Debo or a George Kittle next year?
I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm talking about right now. He's got the team right now. He's got the team going in the right direction. I mean, if you put Brock Purdy probably on a team like the Giants, yeah, probably he'll struggle. But I mean, right now he's in a good spot. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, you bring in a quarterback and you draft a quarterback and you have a good team already surrounding him. You're in luck because then you can pay these guys to make your team better at the end of the day.
Mark my words, at some point, Mr. Relevant's going to come out of him, and either he's going to struggle at some point this year. Brock Purdy's going to struggle.
Quarterbacks struggle at some point, man, but you got to give the guy credit. He hasn't lost a game other than when he got hurt. He's pretty accurate. He's got great command of the offense. He's doing a great job. I mean, I'm looking at the NFL, right? I can name 15 teams that they'd love to have Brock Purdy right now.
15 teams? 15.
Okay, maybe 15 was a stretch. Maybe 12.
That's what I'm saying. But then again, if you try to name 12, I mean, JJ just said it, right? He's got a point, but Brock Purdy on any other team. Is he going to be Brock Purdy in San Francisco? Probably not, right? Like, I think you struggle even getting to 12.
Well, I mean, the jury's still out because there's like 5 or 6 young ones that are playing right now that hope they have the potential of being a great player. They're not there yet. Purdy's still young, and he's showing that he's already pretty good. Is my point.
I'll give him his flowers, right? But I think at some point this year, he's going to struggle, and I'll come back on a weekly show, and we'll talk.
Joe Burrow struggled.
He's gonna struggle. He's gonna have a game that he loses.
Joe Burrow struggled last week. Everybody struggles. Josh Allen struggled.
I think he's going to have a stretch of games where he struggles. You want me to put it that way for you? I think he's going to have a stretch of games where he struggles.
Okay. All right. Talk to me if he struggles in 3 straight games.
I will, and I think he's going to. So we'll have some bulletin board material for the two of us to come back to later in the year.
Okay.
Let's keep rolling. Giants at Cardinals. Another ugly game. We're all on the Giants to cover, and two of us are on the under. I'm on the over. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't get uglier for the Giants at Daniel Jones in week 1. The Cardinals actually played better than I thought they would against Washington. But again, I think all across the board here, again, as you can see, we're on the Giants to cover. So I don't think we need to go too much into this game. JJ, do you have any player props that you're eyeing in this game? Or again, any thoughts on the Giants? Josh Dobbs, again, he looked better than I thought he would, but I think the Giants dominate this game all across the board.
I don't know about dominate. Honestly, this was probably my throw-up game of the week. I mean, there's not really anything good. I probably won't even turn this on. I probably wouldn't even look at it at a bar if it's on TV. Well, I would if I probably had money on it, but that's the only way I would watch this ball game. I don't know. I could really see it going both ways. Arizona did play good in Washington. But again, the Giants need to prove something, right? They just lost 40-0. I mean, that's bad. So they need to show that they're still relevant. They need to win that game. And this is a game that they have to take advantage on because their schedule is difficult. So that's why I kind of went on the Giants side this week.
Jay, any thoughts here? I know it's an ugly game, but
the Giants were a good team last year. They had a bad day. They ran into a buzzsaw. They turned the ball over, had a blocked field goal early. It hit the fan early for them. They couldn't recover. And it started to rain. It was just one of those days. Just get the game over with. Let's get the 0-1, put it behind us, and let's get on to next week. And Dayball will get these guys ready. And I promise you the Giants come out and handle Arizona. I think Arizona's going to struggle to lead in a half or lead. They led in the first half, I think, for a little while. Probably the last lead they have. I mean, they're not very good. They're not very good anywhere other than the running back. So, yeah, I think the Giants are a much better team.
You just paid Daniel Jones.
Darren Waller's also hurt. I don't know if you saw that news. They said that it could be like a nerve issue right now with him. Now his hamstring's coming back. It's the same hamstring they hurt in Las Vegas. So I don't know what the deal is there, but I think
They
my
still have that
hamstring would
tight end they
hurt.
had last year, right? Bellinger, I think his name
Yeah,
is.
I think so. Yeah,
He's still pretty good.
but yeah, my hamstring would hurt too if I lost 40-0. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean it was ugly, and as Jay just mentioned, they don't have receivers, so it's a struggle. But again, just paid Danny Dimes 140 million, so they got to figure it out. Commanders at Broncos. How about Danger Russ? 0-1 at home, didn't really cook up anything crazy. JJ and I are on the Commanders to cover here. Jay, you're despite what happened last week, again, I know the Commanders struggled a little bit with those Cardinals, which isn't enticing for Commanders fans at all. Uh, you're on the Broncos to cover and win this game. So walk us through that thought process again after a week one where Russell Wilson and company and Sean Payton didn't really blow anybody out of the water.
Yeah, I would err on the side of the money line here. This will be a close game, a very good defensive battle, I'm sure. And whatever quarterback does not make the critical turnover mistake, their team will win the game. I think Washington's defense will do a great job against Russell Wilson, and I think the Denver defense will do a great job against the Washington Commanders. So it's going to come down to field position, a key penalty, or a turnover. But I think Sean Payton, at the end of the day, he'll muster up some kind of good gadget player, some kind of play to really attack the defense of the Washington with a couple big plays, and I think they come through with the victory.
JJ, how are you feeling about the Broncos and Russell Wilson after that disappointing week one performance against the Raiders?
Not so good, but I also don't feel good about Sam Howell because he was pretty disappointing against the Cardinals as well.
Yep.
So, but in this game though, that 3.5, that hook is gonna be very important because I do think the Broncos win this game, just like my dad said. And but I just think it's gonna be by a field goal. I think Russ could kind of drive the team down, maybe get a game-winning field goal, maybe get some momentum going into the next week. But then again, we could also see the Commanders sitting at 2-0 on top of the NFC East. So who knows what will happen?
Washington has to travel all the way to Denver.
Yeah, mile high. They're gonna altitude.
That home field advantage is worth a couple points. That's part of the reason they're 3.5.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's an ugly game. You just talked about JJ. That Giants Cardinals game, I think Commanders Broncos is just hideous. And with what you said, I'm no way I'm turning this game on.
Hideous.
It's hideous. I mean, who wants to sit down on their couch on Sunday and actually watch Commanders Broncos.
But that was the only game
around here want to watch it. The
What'd you say,
Commanders
JJ?
fans are fired up this year, man. I feel like we got a new owner here, and they're fired up. We got a great defense and a young quarterback that's developing. So, there's a lot of good things about the Commanders.
How did Commanders fans feel after their week one game? You can't say that they felt good, right?
Ecstatic. They won.
They were ecstatic after that performance.
I mean, a win's a win, isn't it?
It is. It's hard to win in the National Football League,
Would you
right,
rather
Jay?
be the Chargers who lost 37-34, or would you rather be the Commanders who won 16-10 or whatever it was?
I'd rather be the Chargers.
You would?
Wow.
They're way better. I'd absolutely rather be the Chargers.
After a loss, you'd rather be 0-1 than 1-0?
No, but if you're saying what team would I rather be today?
Rather be the Commanders.
If I had to pick a team to be today, I'd be the Chargers 100%. But
no, I'm talking about after the game.
Of course, I'd rather be 1-0, Coach. Come on.
There you have it.
Of course.
There you have it.
Jets at Cowboys. Ugly spread after what happened to Aaron Rodgers, obviously. We're all on the Cowboys to cover. JJ and Jay are on the under, and I'm on the over. I think Zach Wilson scores some points in this game. I know the Cowboys are really good, and Daniel Jones and company couldn't put up a point. But I don't think that happens again this week. You had the special teams touchdown, and it was just an ugly game from the start. The defensive pick six, Saquon got that hit late on him. But again, everybody's on the Cowboys to cover. I'm curious why you guys are both on the under. Is it because the Aaron Rodgers injury and Zach Wilson? JJ, I'm going to go to you here first on this one. Do you think there's any shot that Zach Wilson and company put up some points?
Well, I mean, I'm on the under just because I don't know if you saw the game, but the Jets defense had 3 interceptions on Josh Allen or whatever it was, and they looked great. I mean, that's the only reason why they were in that ball game. They got them into their territory. Special teams, they scored the touchdown. So I mean, I love the under here specifically because if the Jets are going to want to win this game, they're going to have to do it on the defensive side of the ball, just like they did every single game last year that they won. I believe most of the games that they won, all the games hit the under. So if you look at that side, it's pretty crazy to kind of think about. However, the Cowboys, they're going to be a hard task for Zach Wilson, and I don't think he's going to really put up any points. And I can honestly see this being another blowout for the Cowboys.
Let me ask you, JJ, would you bet? I know you have an interception prop bet that you love tomorrow night. Would you take Dak Prescott over a half interceptions in that game? Do you think he throws one? Jets, Cowboys. 3 turnovers off Josh Allen. I mean, chances are probably likely he throws one, right?
Well, I think they're going to do something differently because he didn't have one passing touchdown against the Giants this past week. So I think that they're going to look to get some more receivers involved early on, and if they can kind of jump out to a lead, they're kind of do what the Falcons did last week and just run the ball the whole time. And but again, that front is hard to run against for the Jets. So I can see him passing the ball a little bit. I can maybe see him throwing a pick. I don't know what that's. I wonder what that number is, but it's something that I wouldn't really partake on.
Yeah, 100%. Jay, what about you? Are you feeling, I know picks align, Cowboys -9. This game's not going to be close in your eyes?
I think it's going to be close. I just think I don't think the Jets score. When's the last time a team had back-to-back shutouts?
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I really don't. I think if they stop the running game, which is easier said than done, there's no way they score. I just don't know how many points the Cowboys can score either. So, I mean, 9.5 is a lot. I'm just worried about laying that many dang points. But the Jets defense is pretty damn good. And it's going to be a struggle for the Cowboys to gain a lot of yards and score a lot of points as well. But I just don't think the Jets have anything to really offer offensively. Their line's not good enough to protect this young kid. And I just don't think they're going to give up gashes in the running game like the Bills gave up last week. So, yeah, I just think the Cowboys are just too dominant on defense for the Jets to have a chance.
Yeah, Zach Wilson's jersey might get a little dirty after Micah Parsons gets after him on Sunday. I'm with you. I think it's going to be ugly in Dallas. I think they run away with that one pretty single-handedly. This game I'm interested on. Dolphins, Patriots, Sunday Night Football. Jay and I are both on the Dolphins to cover here. JJ, you're taking the Patriots +2.5 at home on Sunday night. Curious as to why. I mean, what we saw out of the Dolphins in week 1 was electric, their offense. You're on the Patriots to cover, and I'm dying to know why.
This is such a trap line. It is such a trap line. I mean, you saw how good the Dolphins were against the Chargers, how many points they put up. You saw the Patriots just lose at home. You're telling me that the Dolphins, this spread should be a lot different. This spread should be at least, even though they're on the road, Miami should be -6. They should be -6 with how they played last week and going into this week. I really feel like this is just a trap line to lure the public, especially on Sunday Night Play where people are trying to make their money back. We talk about that. People are going to try to load up on the Dolphins. They're not going to win that game. They're going to be down more. So
where did Miami play last week?
Huh?
Where did Miami play last week?
They played in LA.
Where do they play this week?
They play in New England, don't they?
That's a lot of travel time, JJ, isn't it?
Get him.
I mean, my God, you just used that whole analogy because you picked the team, and now you're saying the total opposite.
This is a trap line. There's a okay, I can throw that in there too, but I just want to say that I want to make it known that this is a trap line.
Oh, you took New England.
I took New England.
Oh, I got you. That makes sense now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
My bad. Yeah, this is a tough game. I just think that there's too much speed for Miami right now, and I think if the New England does win this game, it's going to be the under because they're going to pound Miami into submission. That's the chance that New England has to win the game. Running the football with Stevenson and Zeke Elliott is a huge factor for New England. That can happen for sure. But when I watched Miami on tape, I was in awe of the speed that they have. And I just think it's going to be a track meet.
Yeah, I'm with you. Speed kills, and they have a lot of it too. It looked just exceptional in that game. Tyreek Hill's unstoppable, on the verge of unstoppable. Jalen Waddle is questionable though, so that could hurt him with the injury.
Hurt him a lot.
So, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is questionable. So great game.
If he doesn't play, I flip my pick because they can double Tyreek.
Interesting. Yeah, 100%. It's great Sunday night game, and like JJ said, whatever happens in the early Sunday slate, people are going to want to make their money back, and people will probably hammer the Dolphins. So makes you think that the Patriots are going to get it done. So it'll be a good game. Again, I love that. That's a Sunday night football game. Saints Panthers. This is another ugly game in my opinion. We're all on the Saints to cover. Myself and JJ are on the under. Jay, why are you on the over 40 in this game with Derek Carr and Bryce Young? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that one.
I think Derek Carr gets some big plays going this week. I think he's going to feel a little more comfortable with the offense. And I think they have some good weapons in New Orleans. And I think they get it going. I think they put up 28 to 35, 28, 31 points. And I think Bryce Young will get you about 10 or 14. But I think the Saints win this game pretty easily. But I think Carr will have a much better game and be a lot more effective with throwing the ball.
JJ, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about Bryce Young after their week 1 game, after their week 1 loss? 146 yards, nothing crazy. A touchdown and 2 picks for Bryce Young. How are you feeling there?
Their offensive line is bad. I mean, they're up there with the New York Jets as being a really, really bad offensive line. And then we were talking about the over here. The only reason this is going to hit the over is because of garbage time points. I mean, the only people that are going to be watching this game at the end are going to be the people who have the over under, and they're going to be rooting for a backdoor cover on the over with Bryce Young, hopefully dropping in a prevent. Everyone's going to be on the edge of their seats. Those are the only people watching the game. But no, I think the Saints get this one done. Saints did look impressive. I mean, they kind of were a little slow on offense, but ultimately they did move the ball a few times against Tennessee last week. So, but I think they moved themselves up in that division and kind of pushed themselves forward.
2 Monday night games is interesting. We've got Saints at Panthers, and then we've got my Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's the game we will close with this week. The Browns, I'm taking them to cover. Going into Pittsburgh as favorites is something we don't see very often. Everybody, clean slate. Everyone's taking my Cleveland Browns to cover -2. 2 of you guys are on the under. I'm on the over. The Browns defense, as we know, we saw it. Their front four, it looks scary. The corners were locked down. No, Cam Hayward absolutely kills the Steelers. Deontay Johnson is out as well, so that's going to hurt the over there. JJ, walk me through Browns covering -2. I personally think, bias aside, right, I think this game is a lot closer than the Bengals game. 100%. I think that the Browns, I said it historically, play Joe Burrow well. No matter who's out for the Steelers, Mike Tomlin knows how to play the Cleveland Browns, and it's always tough to go into Pittsburgh. But how are you feeling overall about this game? Again, I know everybody's on the Browns to cover, but how are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. They have Kenny Pickett still a quarterback for Pittsburgh, right? I mean, I don't know how that I still don't know how that you like Kenny Pickett from what he did last year and how you thought he was going to improve because how bad he was last year.
Preseason. He had a good preseason, a great training camp, everything you read.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's beat reporters hyping the
And
team.
Quarterbacks tend to get better from year 1 to year 2. They get better from year 1 to year 2. The good quarterbacks do. So you're hoping he takes steps forward.
He doesn't look too good. I just think I think the Pittsburgh defense is going to be, or the Cleveland defense is just going to be too much for him. Again, he's got to go against another top 10 defense in the league in Cleveland. And I mean, luckily for him, it's still in Pittsburgh, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think Deshaun Watson has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns this week. I think we're still waiting for him to see that staple game where he comes out and shows that he can still sling it, throw it across the field. Jay, you're shaking your head. You are just out on Watson, aren't you, man? You're done with him.
He ain't going to throw for 300 yards. You can play. I'll take that under. Can I have that under? They're going to hand the ball to Chubb. All right. They're going to hand the ball to Chubb. And yeah, I just think that when you go from Cameron Hayward to Isaiah Loudermilk, it's a huge, huge issue. So that's, I mean, not just from a player standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint, the heart of your defense is out. I know TJ Watt's there too, but it'll be a tough day for Pittsburgh, I think. But Tomlin is a good coach and he'll get them riled up. But offensively, without the speed of Deontay, not good.
Line. Pittsburgh's line.
Not good. Maybe this Calvin Austin guy, this rookie they have from Memphis, can make a big play. That's the only chance they have. They have to get a big play because they're not going to be able to move the ball methodically 80 yards in 15 plays. They got to figure out how to get a big play somehow, and that takes time, which they won't have because Myles Garrett's coming and Zadarius. Yeah, so I don't know how they score either. There's a couple teams this week. I don't know how they score unless they get a pick six or a turnover.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't mean to cut you off. Did you know Mike Tomlin is 19-3 on Monday Night Football games?
Are you last week you gave me a false stat? Is that a legit?
No, that's fact. That's fact.
Interesting.
That's fact. That is a fact.
JJ's been known to throw out stats that aren't true, but he
He's
says
messing with
so
me.
convincingly you believe him.
He's messing with me. Yeah, he does.
No,
He does.
that is a fact. You can look that one up. Mike Tomlin is 19-3 on Monday Night Football games, and you see games where he wins where he's like 10-point underdogs. There was a game where when was it last year when they beat the was it the Bill or a couple of years ago when they were like 10-point underdogs against the Bills or whatever it was, and they ended up winning that game, or the undefeated Chiefs, or I forgot who it was. Someone was undefeated at that point. They ended up winning.
Well, that's the way the NFL is, though. That's the way the NFL is. There's going to be games this year that you wouldn't think in a million years would happen. So. I mean, last year I think then the Colts beat the Chiefs. I mean, you're like, what? How the heck does that happen? It just happens.
Yeah,
these guys get paid. Every team has professional football players on it, and they're all competitive. And you never know on a given week with the referees and the turnovers what can happen.
100%. And to close, fellas, everybody survived week 1 of Survivor. I had the Ravens. You guys had the Commanders. Everybody's moving on to week 2. Survivor picks this week. You can't use the same team, so Commanders are off the board for you guys. Probably wouldn't want to use them anyways. And the Ravens are off the board for myself. So, Jay, I'm going to go to you first this week. Who is your one Survivor team that you're taking to get you to week 3?
I'm taking the New York Giants.
Interesting. I like it.
That's
I like
ballsy.
it. It is. It is. After the week they had, I mean, we said it right. The Cardinals are terrible. But, again, I still think it's interesting, right? Coming off that week. JJ, Survivor team, week 2. Where are you going?
Well, this team just went to Denver. Now they have to go all the way across country on a second trip to Buffalo. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. I think that they get.
Oh, you're using them up early, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So.
Oh, that's right.
Go ahead and just get them out of there.
Funny enough, I wrote this down earlier. I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Bills. As hard as I've been on Josh Allen, they can't lose this week at home. 9.5. Yeah, I just don't see the Raiders winning this game. They won week 1. They snuck away with one. I'm going Bills too. So for the second week in a row, 2 of the 3 members of the crew have the same team.
Raiders are pretty good, man. I'm a little worried about that pick. 9.5. Now that I think about it, Devontae is pretty daggone good. I mean,
Josh
Garoppolo's
Jacobs,
not terrible.
Nah, right? They've got pieces. Josh Jacobs, yeah. I mean,
you took a team that lost 40-0 on Sunday night. I think I feel a little bit more confident in my.
I count on NFL players, their ability to bounce back.
Okay.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so
right? I don't know.
The ability that Josh Allen bounce back. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
That'll wrap it up, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been another weekly preview of Taking the Point show. Big announcement coming on next week's show that Jay and JJ don't even know about. So I'll get them in the know here soon, but we're going to have some fun next week. But fellas, let's have a week 2. Everybody advance to the Survivor. And let's have a week 2. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you, Jaybird.